Sadio Mané will leave Bayern Munich this summer. Here's why. Sadio Mané made a 35 million pound switch from Liverpool to Bayern Munich. And now it hasn't quite worked out. He hasn't been as explosive or as prolific or as successful as many had expected. Bayern has kind of been languishing between first and second, sometimes third in the league this season, and that's not really what they are known for. They're known for dominating the Bundesliga, and obviously the exit from the Champions League has kind of made Mane a bit of a scapegoat, especially with the bust-up with Leroy Sane where he punched him in the face. So, what are the potential clubs that Sadio Mane could go to? I'm going to look at it in this video. If I sound different, I'm a little under the weather, but it's fine. Back in the States. So once my laptop's fixed, we'll get back to the regularly scheduled program of me having a green screen, but ignore all that. So, Sadio Mane, I'm going to give, I'd say, 3 to 5 clubs that I think that would particularly work for Sadio. I still think there's a phenomenal world-class player in there. I just think, and I don't think it's necessarily that he's going to have an extended peak. You know, he'll play for the next 5-6 years, even though he could. You never know with players who are kind of his kind of caliber. They could kind of extend their prime and play for an extended period of time. So, option number 1, I would say Newcastle is a team to really consider. Newcastle obviously has a lot of newfound wealth. They have a really promising squad. They're competing for the Champions League. I'm actually watching them up 2-1 against Leeds in the 74th right now. So Newcastle, what does he offer for Eddie Howe? Well, A, he offers a Premier League proven goal scorer. He offers a player who could play alongside the front three in any of those 3 positions, on the left, on the right, through the forward, a little deeper. He's a player who's very athletic, who's got some strength to him, who's got some solid technique, and ultimately provides an unexpected X-factor element to the front line. I think if Newcastle could get him, they'd be quite silly not to. He's a no-nonsense player, really. It's work for him at Liverpool. It'll more than likely work for him at Newcastle. He knows the league. He's accustomed to it. And I think him alongside the likes of St. Maximin, Bruno Guimaraes, Isak, Joe Willock, whoever else they decide to bring in, could be really, really something. I mean, obviously Mane played on the left wing as a striker, as a center forward for Liverpool, for Bayern. But I don't see a reason why he wouldn't be able to play on the right-hand side and you'd have St. Maximin on the left and Isak up top. I'd say out of all the clubs I list, Newcastle is the destination I think best suits him, that he could probably have the best success in. He'd be in the Champions League still. And he's a player who I think deserves and wants to be in the Champions League. So I think it's a no-brainer as to why Newcastle would be a really good club and a really good fit for Sadio. Option number 2, this club has been highly rumored, and apparently both the new manager and the ownership of the club really want Sadio to join their project, and that's Chelsea. And with Chelsea, obviously I have some reservations. I'd prefer him not to go, but as we know, as players age, as they enter that final kind of contract of their whole career, as they're looking to get a final big payday, a club like Chelsea makes sense. They'd probably offer Sadio in excess of like 200, 250,000 pounds a week, maybe more. Todd Boehly has been very kind of willing and has really been kind of pay hungry in the sense that he's willing to dish out crazy contracts to the likes of Sterling, Koulibaly, players who are kind of entering the final stages of their career but are proven at the top level. And Sadio is just that. And ultimately, if Sadio is the striker that they get to kind of fill that number 9 void, it could work. But at the same time, I do think it would be a unexpected move from Sadio. He has kind of given off that he's felt that Liverpool has preferred Salah to him, which ultimately makes sense. I feel like Sadio was oftentimes underappreciated and given a lot of the blame at Liverpool when he's been one of our more consistent players over the last 4 or 5 years. And I really rate him, and I think he's a Liverpool legend. But if he does go to Chelsea, I don't know if he'll be spoken of in the same way. We'll see how much, his Liverpool legacy means to him. Not to really put that kind of pressure on him. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter. It's just a sport, and Sadio being such a stand-up guy, I think that a move to Chelsea for a buttload of cash doesn't really kind of like take away any of his success at Liverpool, but maybe he doesn't get a statue is all I'm saying. I do think it would be a bit of a culture clash depending on how Pochettino decides to kind of instill his own kind of ideology into the club, but Chelsea as a club is kind of very far away from what Liverpool as a club is, and obviously there's the lack of stability. Klopp has been there for years and kind of nurtured a sort of understanding to the club that has kind of given players like Sadio Mané, players like Salah, players like Firmino, the ability to kind of grow in to the best versions of themselves on and off the pitch. Option number 3, PSG. I'd say PSG are a team who, in many respects, is the ultimate accumulation of a big final payday. If Neymar does choose to leave, which it is looking increasingly likely that he will, Sadio Mané will be a wonderful replacement for him on the left. Mané played for Metz in the French leagues. He's accustomed to those leagues. He would fit in, I think, like a glove. Obviously, it would help PSG ownership to have another Muslim player to kind of help sports wash, and it would be a little like sad, but not as bad as a Chelsea move for me, just because I feel like Mane is a player who's got a lot of stand-up character off the pitch. He does a lot of charity work. He does a lot for his hometown. And ultimately, you can't help but feel that in a situation where he goes to PSG, he'll kind of waste the final years of his career competing in Ligue 1. Yeah, he'll get a Ligue 1 title, but at the same time, they're not going to win the Champions League, I don't think. I don't think that they have really the backbone to be able to go out and kind of go tit for tat with most teams. I feel like, especially if they lose Messi, if they lose Neymar, having just Mbappe, does that work? Who knows? I'd feel like it'd be a weaker squad regardless if you're taking out Neymar and Messi and just adding Mane. Obviously, they'll add more types of players, but it is a possibility. Option number 4, I could see Sadio Mane going to the MLS. Honestly, I can, because I don't think Barcelona is really interested in Mane. I don't think the likes of, say, a Juventus or a Napoli or anyone in Serie A is interested in Mane. And I don't think he's going to stay in the Bundesliga. So if it's not Newcastle, it's not Chelsea, it's not PSG, the MLS is a possibility. I think he could get a lot of money playing in the MLS alongside all the kind of sponsorships that he could get. He is one of the world's best players, I'd say, as a forward. He has fallen off this season, obviously, but coming to the MLS, there'd be a superstar factor, and I feel like that could be something that does interest Mane in the sense of he's coming there, he's going to be able to bring more investment into his hometown, he'll be able to do more off the pitch, he'll obviously be competing in a weaker league, but it doesn't matter, that is a possibility. Option 5, Saudi Arabia. If Al Hilal or Al Nasser continue to have a huge amount of investment into the club, that I could see, into their clubs, I should say, I could see Mane going. I could see him being like kind of a centerpiece for that league. They could give him a huge payday. And I don't think Mane would be necessarily against it. Ultimately, I think the last two options are kind of like out there and out of left field. I'd say the first three of Chelsea, Newcastle, PSG are the most likely. But at the end of the day, Sadio Mané is a world-class player. He is a person who contributes a lot off the pitch, and I feel like from his perspective, he's kind of stuck now between, do I go out and win some more trophies, or do I get a final big payday? And I think he'll kind of try to hit a sweet balance between the two. So that's why I'm picking Newcastle as the most likely option for Sadio Mané moving forward. But we'll see as the summer progresses. There's the outside chance that he stays at Bayern, but I'd say that with all the drama that's been there around Sane, around him, around the kind of motivations of the club, I think they want to sell him. So if you enjoyed watching the video, please like, subscribe, comment, tell me where you think Sadio Mané is going to go. If you made it to the end, I genuinely appreciate it. I'm Sideline Sato. Peace.